I want to show you how to cut out a collar for a suit. This is just a direct collar. It's not the double pattern of collar. This is a direct collar. As much as with time we're going to be uploading the video for the double collar, so you can see that. But this, we're going a direct collar, but the right way to go for the direct collar. This is it. The neck is already set, so you're keeping it this way and then taking the measurements of the neck. So from this point I'm marking the point that curves back this way and then cuts this way. You mark the point. So you're taking note of from this point to this point, the full length, what is there. Then this is 11, and then from here to outside here, this is 3.5 and also 3.5. So from here to here is 11, and then from here to here is 3.5. Also here to here is 3.5. So that's what we'll be needing now. We'll bring our piece for the collar. Bring our piece for the collar, and then we'll fold it this way. Fold it this way. Make sure the down part is straight. If it's not straight, you can still get a ruler to make sure it's straight. Okay, so I got a ruler to just make sure you're seeing the line clearly. Then I'm making it straight. So this is the line. Remember the base here, from here to here, we checked it to be 11. So 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. We mark 5.5. So most times I do mark it straight this way, just to be sure of the angle I'm going to slant the other part. That's for this part. Then I take it up by 1.25. 1.25. So you draw this lower line and then mark. I had to change the tape because I felt the other one is not showing the numbers well, so that you can be able to see it clearly. And then this height, you measure 1.25, you mark. So this one we are making it, we're curving it. We're curving it this way. To get the slant, I don't just slant it by any direction. Sometimes some might say you should slant it maybe angle 60 degree or 90 degree or 45 degree, depending on what you learn. But one of the best way I've understood how to do this is when you use the collar to mark it out. So I put it this way, put the collar this way, and then make sure it's aligning flat, and then I mark. So you see, that's, I have some little assurance that this is what is right. But meanwhile, this is not the final step on it. It's not the final step because I'll still go ahead to ensure that it is well patterned. Then you check, probably this is a notch lapel. You check this distance. I like to use it as the same distance as the height of the collar. So 1.25, you add extra 1 inch for sewing allowance, sewing of both up and down. Then I can add a little 0.25 for any extra allowance that might just come up. This length here, I always use 3.5 for this place. After sewing, we end up getting 2.5, which is perfect. So you take your curve, so the line is not going straight. So this marking here is the height of from here to here, 3.5. So you mark 3.5 and then you add extra allowance for the folding. Then from this 3.5, that's where you measure the height you want the collar to look like. You measure the height and then you add extra allowance for both sewing and the folding. So this is how our collar is looking. Then we'll go ahead to trim it out. So we are done with trimming. After trimming this out, we have to gum it AST. Put on AST on it. We are notching to get both the accurate center of the up and the down. So before we gum, let me introduce you to what I use for the collar. This is called collamenting. It's not the usual wording people might use for their collars. This is collamenting. It does not have any gum, front or back. It doesn't have any gum. It's not like wording. Wording has gum. And then the disadvantage of using wording is with time it usually looks cracky. And then it doesn't last as long as collamenting, because collamenting is just holding the fabric below and then giving it a very good shape. So you're cutting the complete collar you've just cut out. So you're cutting it complete on the collamenting. And take note, you're lining the collar in the part of the collamenting that is a bit stretchy. This length, this axis is not stretchy, but this axis is a bit stretchy. So you're laying the collar along the part that is stretchy. So when you lie it this way, you just completely trim it out. That is that for trimming. So the next thing is we're still going to gum this. Just stay all through. So the next thing is you pin this, you mark the center of this also. Mark the center of the collamenting. Mark the top. So we're putting it all through here. We're pinning it. We pin it all through the collar. You just pin it. You either pin it or you use your hand needle to hem it all around. Okay, so this is the center, and then you're attaching it to the center of the back. So you're crossing it with like 1/2 inch allowance. You're crossing it with like 1/2 inch, your assumed sewing allowance. This is temporal, so you don't go sewing it with your sewing machine, because I know some people will be like, why are you taking time to do this? Why not just sew it with the sewing machine? Our bulldog is backing. So you just stitch it this way. You just pin it this way. Pin. So the same principle for a peak lapel. The same principle, but that for the peak lapel you have to be cautious and then careful, not just you also have to be careful as we are right now, not just going to do it roughly. So as you can see, we've pinned it. We're taking it to the mannequin now. So after we pin it, we're putting it on the mannequin. This is what it entails. This is what it takes to make a custom suit, a bespoke custom suit. Not just rushing to do your job. After we put it on the mannequin this way, we're going to check. We're going to draw out the size of our collar, how we want it to look like on this. Then cut it out. So just follow me carefully. You understand what I mean by that. This is the size of collar I want. So I'll measure. I said I want this same height. It's 1.1. And I mark 1.1 instead of 1.5 that I earlier said. I'm putting 1.1. Mark it this way. So at this point, if you want the color to look this way, you can mark it no matter how you want it. But I want it straight this way. So you mark it out like this. So you go all the way backward. So it's dropping too much. You check your total dropping. I'll use 1.75. Then mark. So in order not to go ahead to the other side and then make wrong drawing, I'll just concentrate on this half side. So after I'm done with this half side, I can just place it and then get on this other side. But the only thing I need to do about this other side now is to get my the edge here. So to get the edge, I'm still going to come down and draw. Check the distance, the height.
So you're basically just going to measure this part, the height, and then measure how you want the height to look like. So you're going to trim this other part that you've constructed to the drawing already of how you want your collar size to look. So after you trim this side, there's no need to trim this other part too. You're just going to remove it and then bend it into two to trim out everything equally.
Carefully. So when you fix it this way, sometimes there would be a bulge here. This place will be coming up. That's means the collar is not sitting well. If there's any issue here, you either loosen this part and then drag it a bit downward. Losing this.
You have to make sure that your collar maintain is sitting flat at the back of the suit, and it should be giving you the same look or the same view you want to get when you're done making the collar. So the collar maintain basically determine how the collar would look when you're done making the collar.
Trim just to the center. As you can see, our collar is looking quite small, fine and unique. Not just making any kind of collar. So So be careful not to just go and trim your suit, or not to go and match your suit. Be careful. It's your usage of scissors. So that's all. We're not trimming this side. We're just. So after we trim it, before you take out the pins,
the collar on the mannequin, before taking out the pins, so you could fold it into two to trim. You just mark out the lower part to know the excess you'll be having
so that
behind,
you would be
whether
able
it's
to see
still
the
half
actual
inch
allowance
or more than. So if it is more than half inch,
then you just take
you
out
should
the
trim
pin.
it down. So now you're just taking out the pins
pin.
to check out what excess would you be having. So now I took out the pins, and
so as you can see,
some parts are
the
having
allowance,
more than half inch.
you can see the allowance under it.
Some parts are still half inch. So the part that are having more than
so I want to just reduce the allowance a bit.
I'm going to trim them down.
It's a bit more than half inch.
Is what we need.
So I'm reducing.
So mind you, even if it's half inch, after you're sewing of the collar, if there are still excess, you are just going to trim, but there won't be that much excess to trim out because you're making sure everything is accurate by doing.
And then now,
so you bend it into two, as I've earlier told you. Now you're using the part that is well trimmed to retrace the part you didn't trim on the mannequin. So now I'm making sure it's all balanced.
Putting it this way,
and you trim it.
And then trimming the other side that we've not trimmed.
Following the shape of the one you trimmed earlier on. As you can see, this is
the size of collar we'll be needing.
This is the look of our collar.
This is the size of collar we'll be needing.
And you're just making sure
the center,
matching the center
lower part
to keep track of where the
so
center
back to our.
So now for the main collar, we're trimming. We're still going to be trimming, though we have to gum it. It is to first.
Yeah, so we trim our stay to gum. Place it on the collar that we've cut out before. As you can see, there's a little excess below. So we'll just trim the excess. Trim. So now we're going to fold this part over this. We're going to fold this part over this, but you can also hold it down. So it doesn't move around. Also hold it down so it doesn't move around. So this one is going over this. Going over it this way. But now we're not going to sew it with just we're not going to stitch it with just the normal stitching machine, sewing machine. We're going to use a zigzag. I'm going to use a zigzag to stitch it. In order to make this edge clean and then presentable, but to use a zigzag to stitch it. But if you don't have a zigzag machine, you can actually stitch with the normal machine and then take time to use your hand and create the zigzag around it, so as you would make your work neat and presentable. Because this particular collarmenting, when you fold it, is a bit thick. We're going to attach the line with this to create a proper line here, which is wrong. So we're going to stitch it. We're going to the machine now for stitching. Mind you, you can as well stitch it first. Just stitch it a free stitch. You can stitch a free stitch before a straight stitch. Sorry. You can do a straight stitch before you bring it up to the machine, so as it wouldn't stress you having to hold down. So we've gone to the machine to do the zigzag. So come close, show us the zigzag. And then this is how it's looking. So you just go ahead to still press it down. Press it down. So you see, this part of the collar is not showing any line. It's just looking flat, this part. But if you do it differently from this, it will have a line in the front. Since I'm sewing here at 1.1, I'll mark 1.1, just mark. Then here too, mark 1.1. And then we go and stitch it to the front, to the suit, to the main suit. That's all. So after pressing, you already got in the center, and then the center is just
attach this way.
So you do the same thing on the other side.
So after sewing on the machine, you just come back and just ensure it's sitting well. So in order not to be too hard on the person, you just use a piece over the fabric. Use a piece. So you just press. So we have it all flat. bit of flats. Let's see. So when we turn, bend back this over, as you can see how perfect this is. You can see how perfect it is. Bend this over here and you press. Come here, you bend, you press. So we're using hemming gum, but you're trimming it very small, like very small. You can divide it into 3 or into 4. Very small. You don't need it so big. We're using it to hold down this. So just show it closely. Look at your line of sewing. You're putting your hemming gum in front of it. The line of sewing, putting your hemming gum in front of it, not behind it, please. So you're putting your hemming gum in front of it. This way. Make sure you stay to the end to see how this is looking at it. I'm trying to hold this place down, but this is not the permanent thing we'll be doing here. This hemming gum is just holding it down for us. We're still using hand tacking to tack this all around. Sorry, not all around, this place and then this edge, this point, so as this will be down. But for this part, we're going on the sewing machine to sew this part back here. So you just come below the collar, just in between the collar and the lining, and then stitch. We are not having much excess, just staying out. See how beautiful this color is. We're making the collar small because it's complementing the lapel. The size of the lapel is quite small, so the collar is also complementing the lapel. So you can see how fine the collar is. You can see how balanced it is behind, sitting flat on the back. There's no excess or any gapping behind, and it's not dragging backward. So this is how to perfectly create this collar without any rush. You take your time and then you make this. So for more content and for more tutorials like this,
make sure you subscribe to my channel for the next amazing tutorial. Have a wonderful day.